Paul. Welcome to our first Tea and Scones for October 2025. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thank you, Gene. It feels like it's been forever, but I'm glad to be back, glad to be on the show, and glad to find out what's going on.
Yeah, we got a lot of that to find out what's going on. I'll go pretty much for the news from the 6th of October backwards to kind of keep catch people up with things. And just welcome everyone to the first Tea and Scones for October of 2025. And thank you all for being here, and God bless you all. And we will go ahead and just get right into it. Mabel, would you start us with the invocation, please?
All beings, life forms, thought forms, entities, assemblages, technologies, beingnesses, awarenesses, and all else that exists that do not have our highest interest and or the highest interest of all life everywhere, and are not in the highest service to the one true and only living God of all creation, I am, in thought form, action, mind, deed, word, and in all ways, and all artificial intelligences and artificial life forms and the technologies they use. Smart desks, nanodesks, black goo, graphenes, algorithms, operating systems, thought forms, and all other artificial life, and all else that is not created by the one true living God, I am, we demand all to leave our mind, spirit, body, soul, and all that we are on all dimensions, densities, levels, and locations, now and forever, and never return. All permission to create or maintain attachments, influence from within or without, in any way, to cohabitate or possess, in part or in whole, to affect or defect in any way, to feed off our energies, our mind, spirit, our bodies, or soul, or anything that we are on any dimension, density, level, or location, or alter or change our thoughts, feelings, our mental, physical, emotional, or genetic structure in any way, or create any pain, discomfort, or put us into disharmony with the one and only God of all creation, I am, is permanently and forever removed. All contracts, obligations, and agreements that we have made knowingly or unknowingly that are not in our highest interest and are not in the highest interest of all life everywhere and not in the highest service to the one true living God of all creation, I am, we now declare null and void. All emptiness, holes, vacancies, rips, tears, or injuries from the invocation, contract negation, and removal of artificial intelligences are now to be filled with the divine light of the Holy Spirit, the word of the one true living God, I am, and the healing and compassion of his beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Our protections in this invocation are asked for in the name and authority of the one true living God of all compassion, love, light, and creation, I am, and his holy Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. As it is said, now it is done, and is sealed now and for all time. Teleste. It is finished, completed.
Thank you, Mabel, and love to serve. Would you open us with prayer, dear?
Yes. Peacetime, peace all over the world. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Father God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ for gathering Paul inside the club, Jean, Blessed for Service family, Deep Diver, and people all around the world. We love it. We love to be together and unite with you all. Thank you. We need to fill us up with new and more knowledge in this important time. Thank you for all new important news. The turning point is here and more people are awake, waking up to the truth. A peace-loving force surrounding us. We walk on the golden path together and we all get stronger in our love, faith, and trust. A wave of taking back our freedom and peace is echoing around the world. Wars, control, and manipulations come to an end. We walk the golden path with Father God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ, leading and guiding us. We will be led by love, compassion, healing, peace, and protection. We are so blessed and we truly love to co-create with you all, with all living beings in service to you as President Trump, his family, and the Alliance. What a power we are together. We walk hand in hand, and we thank you all for your service and support. And our beautiful, innocent children are free. Thank you, Jean and Paul. Tetelestai. Thank you.
Thank you, Love to Serve. That was quite beautiful as always. Thank you. I'm going to do the news from about the 6th of this month going backwards to get us all to catch up a bit. And thank you to Paul for being here. And we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. And welcome to everybody, both on Deep Dives and in the Zoo. Thank you for joining us. And we will continue on, starting off with you, Paul, because this is right up in your neck of the woods. Here we go.
And this is from Geopolitics in the Picture on X. As London plunges into the abyss of invasion with real-life terrorist attacks and teenage recruitment, British police brilliantly demonstrate their priorities, heroically arresting a white child for fishing in the Thames. A child with a fishing rod is a direct threat to national security. It's not good, this one, but I'll leave you to the video.
Yeah.
Get out, 10-year-old boy! Don't cry! Don't do that! You're fucking kidding! Oh my god! I've got it on video! This is fishing stuff! Leave me alone! Daddy, please! Oh no!
They got the little boys in handcuffs, and she took something out of his pocket, and the policeman almost tried to take it back. How pathetic can you be? I mean, just a little boy. Yeah, that's a hardened terrorist. Oh, my word. So it is just ludicrous what's going on in UK for me, Paul. And I heard about Pierce Starmer and his move because the illegal aliens that are, as he said, coming to the UK because of climate change. Uh-huh. Okay.
Oh,
Blame it on climate change. Over to you, Paul.
yes. What I'm seeing is deep state panic. You know, he's pulled the trigger on this without a real reason. The digital ID thing, the immigration thing, he's just in full panic mode. Everything is collapsing around him. And when you pin a dog up against the wall, he's at his most dangerous. So, dare I say it, he's doing all this crazy stuff. I don't think half of it will come in. But on the flip side, you know, he's making the police do some horrible things. We've just seen 2 children arrested for fishing. Whereas you go back to the old days of constables with the bell hats, they would have just said, don't do that, lad, jog on, sort of thing. It's, yeah, scary, weird times.
Yeah.
Well, from the wonderful Lord Bebo, who speaks total common sense and truth, apart from others, climate change is the reason why millions of military-age men from third world countries are coming to the UK. Quote from UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. That's right, it's all on weather.
Yeah, it's definitely what's causing it. It's the weather. Blame it on the weather. It's like, and of course, as you probably know, he's instituted a digital ID that to work in the UK you must have. You have information for us on that?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, this is all part and parcel of to stop illegal migrants working illegally in the UK. Bearing in mind we still have cash, so is that really going to work? I don't think so. The other thing with digital ID, for anyone who's already a resident in the UK, you're going to need to provide your passport or your national insurance. I know your national insurance you'll need to, and a driving license. So the 3 forms of ID that we already have in the UK will need to be used to prove who you are to get the new form of ID. Can you hear the funniness of this?
Yeah, it sounds like a skit by Monty Python.
It does. It really does.
It's right up their alley. Like, oh my word.
But then I'm a big believer in this is exposing what they're planning. It's almost like he's working for the good guys because he's done it in such a bad way that, as you said, it looks like a sketch from Monty Python, which is winding people up, getting people angry, getting them to the point where they're like, no. And that's the bit. He can't convince anybody that this is a good idea. That's the funny bit.
Yeah. And it's not just that, he gave how many pounds was it for geoengineering to dim the skies in
I
UK?
think it was 2 million, I want to say. Memory
Yeah, it
serves
was a
me.
massive amount. And from here, you can read this, Paul, of a guy talking about it.
Yeah, this is Andrew Bridgen, former MP. I've had the privilege of talking to him. This is his post on X. Geoengineering, sun dimming, cloud seeding, and weather manipulation in the UK must stop. It's a crime against humanity.
For those of you who still don't believe that we're being subjected to geoengineering, weather manipulation, cloud seeding, I've got some bad news. A couple of years ago, I got to people who worked at a company flying out of East Midlands Airport in northwest Leicestershire, and they actually left that company because they're carrying out geoengineering, spraying us with chemicals, and they felt it was morally wrong. The Met Office know what's going on. I'm not sure they realise or appreciate how much harm it's doing to our environment and to the people. And that's why Keir Starmer's government had to announce that they were creating a fund to experiment with geoengineering, cloud seeding. Because with regard to the vaccines, there is some mitigation. They can always claim they didn't know that they were killing people and we were in an emergency, or they thought we were in an emergency. You catch somebody spraying you with chemicals from the sky, it's very difficult to think what the defence is going to be. And they got a bit windy and they needed that cover from the government that they've authorised experiments. Can you tell me, where was the debate in our parliament about whether we would authorise geoengineering? The UK is a very small country, probably.
And, listen to what he says about the actual effect on the world here in regards to the UK doing this.
Less than 0.25% of the global area. If we blocked out the sun over the UK, it had no effect on world temperatures, have a massive effect on our weather. It's got to stop. No more geoengineering. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Yeah, so over to you, Paul.
Well, this is something that's been a hot topic for a long time. I know a journalist who's looking into this. He's found everything bar where they're getting the chemicals from. And when you sit back and you look at the state of the UK weather, I'm sorry, Gene, but our climate is being decimated. Farmers are reporting year on year, poor crops, and it's a horrifying subject that not enough coverage has happened. And as Andrew said there, this was never debated about in Parliament. It's being kept seriously under the radar. And the only thing I can think of is they're going to destroy our crops, our farming industry, buy it all up into private corporate hands or government hands, and then all of a sudden the weather will get better. And then they control the food supply. It's just another one of their, dare I say it, subjects in their agenda, which is to control us ultimately and take away all sovereignty. They can't handle us being sovereign beings.
I couldn't agree more, Paul. That's exactly right. I do see that in deep dives, we have some people from your area. Gillian Jones from Wales says, I will not conform to Starmer's nonsense. And we have Kevin, he looks like he's Newman. He sounds like he's in Spain. That the digital ID stuff is being installed at the airport, or maybe it was a fake AI video. And RFK has, as Brendan in the chat says in Deep Dives, says the chemtrails are straight out of DARPA, which is exactly correct where they started all this. It's called Operation Indigo Skyfall. And then over here now, more of the Trump called them out in the UN. The two big things that the globalist plan is the illegal mass migrations into countries, destroying their sovereignty. They're putting a new voting bloc in there. They're destroying their culture, and then the fake green climate scam. And so he called that out. And when he visited, they called him Your Excellency. And that is quite profound. What it means is that, as we saw with him there, he rode in the carriage that only the royalty have ever ridden in before. And then he went to, not Buckingham Palace, he went to Windsor Castle. Again, only royalty goes there. He reviewed the troops, kind of like with the Queen when she waved him in front of her. But this time, the King, Charles, walked 6 feet behind him, which means he's actually His Excellency. And in the picture, Melania was wearing, in a picture, was wearing a black funeral dress with a purple hat with a veil that you couldn't see out into her face, but she could see out. In other words, I see you, but you can't see me. And I'm mourning, the purple hat means I'm mourning royalty in the funeral garb. And then there's another picture of her in a buttercup dress with the belt way up high, buckle up buttercups. And it's all very symbolic that he is the king and he is in charge. So we saw that in a Decode they did in the way back when, I think 2018, when he went to the UK and walked in front of the Queen, and then signed the ledger at Westminster Abbey for the Crown Corporation. So he took over the City of London and the Crown Corporation, all the finances for the world at that time. And the picture with Prince Charles, King, sorry, he was standing with his hands behind his back. In other words, my hands are tied behind my back. There's nothing I can do. That's symbol, Masonic symbol to the cabal, showing the truth of it. And then in this post, now we see the effects of some of this. The illegals, the war in Ukraine, the never-ending wars, that's another part of their plan. Six-part plan they have from George Soros and the WEF group. And this is from Lord Bebo on X. Previously, life was simple. You work until 65, and this is for Germany, and enjoy the last 15 years on your pension. Now, since Germany has to finance all kinds of crazy foreign projects, i.e. Ukraine being one, Germans will work till death. So this is part of their agenda and their plan. And I think Pierce Starmer is doing the same kind of thing. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, 100% right, Gene. 100% right. Our retirement age is going up, but anyone in the know already knows our pension pot is empty. So obviously we have what's called the state pension, which a proportion of what we call national insurance that you pay from every paycheck goes into that. But it's been long-term known by people in the know that pot is empty. They've already used it all up. Unfortunately, they've spent it all on these crackpot things, which we all now know to be money laundering and, dare I say it, funding terrorist organisations in other countries. So yeah, we're in the same boat as Germany, Gene.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And the tariffs, which are to balance out the trade, but the countries can't handle it because they're sending all these projects like Ukraine, all their retirement benefits and everything else, sending billions over to Ukraine, plus the supposedly frozen but actually seized Russian assets from Euroclear. And now China, part of BRICS, is starting a new system to replace the Euroclear because a lot of countries are bailing out of it because they're going to seize your money and use your profits. That's theft straight out. So from Lord Bebo on X, the effect of the sanctions and inflation in Europe, many Europeans can't afford food anymore as before. And the fuel prices are so high, I don't know how, plus the oil reserves, the fuel reserves in most of the European countries are less than 20% going into the winter. I don't know how the people are going to make it. They can't afford food. What do they choose between food and freezing to death? Starve or freeze. So look at the food prices, how they've risen in all the Latvia, 55%, Estonia, 57%. You can see the percentages going down there. And there's nothing that's below 20%. The lowest is Cyprus at 20%. Ireland's 26%. And so you can see it's impacting pretty heavily. And I mean, I've been to London, but I'm not from, it was expensive as heck when I went there 20 years ago. But is it way worse than that now, Paul?
I think it's flipped a little bit towards America's favour, but me as a UK citizen, I mean, our food prices have gone up 10, 20% every year for the last 3 years, I want to say. Cost of living is pretty crazy at the moment. And funnily enough, I saw a post yesterday and they said £100 now feels like £10, £200 feels like £20. Our cost of living has skyrocketed, and we're in exactly the same boat as Europe. And this is all by design. We all know this is by design. So yeah, it's a sad time in the UK as well as the rest of Europe.
Yeah. And fortunately for America, we have Trump. And so Trump has pulled us out of the climate scam, the Paris climate baloney that we were mostly funding. He also has pulled us out of the WHO and saved trillions of dollars, which we are mostly funding. You can see this post on True Social from Robert Kennedy Jr. I think this may be X, but it looks like True Social is a commentary account. While you were distracted, the WHO just pushed forward its global pandemic treaty, giving unelected bureaucrats power to dictate lockdowns, mandates, and emergency measures over sovereign nations. This isn't about health, it's about control. America must say no, and I would say the entire countries of the world's leaders need to say no to this if they're not just straight on out and out puppets to the baloney cabal agendas, which I think most of them are. So going into the WHO a little deeper, this guy, who is the leader of the WHO, is a pretty nasty dude. But this post on X by Ricardo Bossi, and this is the leader of the WHO that some fake leaders signed up to. And not one media outlet, journalist, reporter, news anchor said a word. Also, they could keep their job. Hooray for me to H with you. Every last Jack one of them, Mrs. B. And so we can hear some of the baloney this guy has to say here.
Exactly who is Dr.
Actually,
Tedros?
this is first being a lady commentary on it.
Before Dr. Tedros came to the WHO, he was the health officer for his home nation of Ethiopia. When he was the health officer in Ethiopia, Human Rights Watch reported that Tedros engaged in widespread political persecution, right? He withheld food and medicine from Ethiopians that were of ethnicities unlike his own. Specifically, I am told that the group that was hurt the worst are the Amharans, who are now, quote, missing 2 million people due to lack of food, lack of medicine. This was under his tenure as the health officer of Ethiopia. Prior to being the health officer of Ethiopia, he was actually the third highest member of Ethiopia's Tigray People's Liberation Front, which is a hard left organization that became part of the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, a known terrorist organization. So Tedros is this hard leftist with a history of killing or allowing to be killed many of his own citizens. So in him, the Chinese Communist Party saw a tremendous ally. So when he ran for the position of head chief of the World Health Organization, he was running against 5 other people. Interestingly enough, all of them were medical physicians. The only one who was not a medical physician is Dr. Tedros. And that's the guy that China put forward, and he's in the middle of his 10-year term.
And for those that don't know, the Zionists created the Communist Party in China. That's the Rothschild family and the other high-level Zionists. And they're the ones that funded and created it. And then from this post by Ricardo Bossi and X, they didn't get jabbed. They didn't impose lockdowns. They didn't jab their own children. But they're useless idiots like Tedros here. have imposed regulations, changed laws to enforce compliance, and find you are not obeying them. It honestly can't get much clearer. And we'll listen to the various things he has to say, and you'll agree it can't get much more clear than this.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I want to ask you about your own vaccination. You got your first shot when? You know, still I feel like I know where I belong. In a poor country called Ethiopia, in a poor continent called Africa, and wanted to wait until Africa and other countries in other regions, low-income countries, start vaccination. So I was protesting, in other words, because we're failing. Thank you so much for taking the time.
So he's very good at dodging the question there.
Did not impose anything on anyone during the COVID-19 pandemic. Not lockdowns, not mask mandates, not vaccine mandate.
I could swear that's what happened. You didn't? Really? I must be in a different timeline before back then.
We don't have the power to do that. We don't want it, and we're not trying to get it. Our job is to support governments with evidence-based guidance, advice, and when needed, supplies to help them protect their people.
Yes, follow the science, and we support that. In other words, you do it or else.
Dimitri wrote an article for Defend Democracy Press about something Gates's former doctorate said to colleagues at a conference in Seattle. Hell broke loose. These are the doctor's words. I don't know if he had his children vaccinated as adults, but I can tell you he point blank refused to vaccinate them as children. Dimitri wrote, "The news that Bill Gates does not vaccinate his own children, despite being the world's most active campaigner for mandatory vaccinations, should come as no surprise. Studies prove that the elite do not vaccinate their children. But at the same time, they expect the masses to have their children vaccinated."
So that post is by Captain Kyle, as you can see. Thank you, Captain, for letting us know what's really going on. And then I think most people know about the peace flotilla, or whatever you want to call it, with Greta Thunberg. This gentleman's talking about the recent results from that flotilla. They were taking aid to Gaza, and they were intercepted in not Israeli water, in national waters still, and arrested. So let's hear from this post, Lord Bebo on X. Israel arrested, in international waters, a former U.S. Army Ranger with 4 deployments. He was on that flotilla. So we'll listen to a bit of this.
I'm a former U.S. Army infantry captain and Afghanistan war veteran. And today my friend Greg Stoker, who is a former Army Ranger with 4 combat deployments, was illegally abducted in international waters while sailing with the Samud aid flotilla on their way en route to Gaza in order to establish an aid corridor and deliver humanitarian aid. While I want as many people as possible to see this video, I largely want this video to be seen by people who might be skeptical or critical of the narrative that there is a genocide ongoing in Gaza. So set aside the fact that the UN, the ICC, the ICJ have all adjudicated that genocide is absolutely happening in Gaza. Set aside the massive international outcry of many nations in the West that are looking at Israel as a pariah state for an active enablement of a genocide. Even set aside all of the number of videos that show women, children, elderly being bombed and killed in horrific ways, and the starvation in the streets of children and even babies. Set all this aside, and I want to ask you a very simple question. If an unarmed civilian flotilla of 44 ships consisting of hundreds of people bringing nothing but aid was bringing that aid in order to provide even a slight bit of reprieve to the massive amount of starvation that they believe is happening, and if that starvation is not happening, if these genocidal conditions are not happening, if this apartheid state is not as they say it is, then why would they not allow them entry? So often do I hear this argument, oh, H group is just taking all the aid, they're taking all the food, they're giving it to all their fighters. if that's the case, what interest does Israel have in not allowing them in to show that that's what's going on? It makes zero sense. They know how flimsy their argument is, and they know that the second that these people step foot and show the world what is happening from their lens, that the entire argument that this is not happening falls apart.
And that's so true. You let them in, you show the truth, but they don't want the truth because the truth is exactly what he said. So on we go. But first, over to you, Paul. Do you have any commentaries on this?
Do you know what? This aid flotilla, this narrative that is coming out of Gaza of, protecting ourselves from Israel, when there's so much video footage of children dead in the streets. Yet again, this is almost farcical what we're seeing. Like, how can anyone believe Israel when there's videos of dead children? And, they got abducted in international waters. So Israel did piracy. Well, no one's shouting from the high heavens. Do you know what, Gene? This is all exposure. You can just feel this is all exposure.
Absolutely. To go on with this situation of the flotilla, more from Lord Bebo on X, Israeli politician Ben Gvir is another Zionist. Of course, that's not his real original name. That's a Zionist name. Mocks captured members of the flotilla heading to Gaza Strip. So we'll listen to this short little video of him mocking them. And by the way, they were held for several days, and the first 32 hours they had no food and no water and were woken up every 3 minutes, and they're sitting in that facility like that the whole time. So definitely they're doing the same thing that they said was done to them in World War II. Same exact thing, no difference whatsoever. And then to go back to the what was mentioned in the previous video about the vax by Tedros, from leading report here, breaking, CDC has recommended toddlers, and boy is this good news, not get the chickenpox vaccine in combination with the MMR vaccine all at once. Also rescinds the recommendation that all adults receive the COVID boosters. So that is really good news there. And he's saying he's done another expose in which he's showing that all vaccines are not responsible, a single one is responsible for the decrease in death from whatever it is, whether it's measles, mumps, other than measles. All the other ones, the disease was dying out due to better food and better health practices and all of that prior to the vaccines. He did an expose on that from Donald Trump on Truth Social. Repost from, I think, from X, from Nick Sordo. Breaking, the Trump administration has just canceled $8 billion in green new scam funding for OMB Director Vaught. So Director Vaught actually has posted that as well, taking full advantage of the Schumer shutdown. And we'll go in more into that so that you can see the states that have lost funding. And I'm like, yay, because these windmill farms, they have to be kept running periodically by generators. Or they freeze up and they have to be torn down. They also kill birds like crazy. That's now out too. So the states are California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. So that's a little bit more of the scam that they perpetuate on us with this stupid climate change and all of this crazy junk. And then the other one, of course, is the illegals pouring into countries. As you know, we were talking about that. And in regards to that, one thing they're doing is changing the culture and getting a voting block, as I mentioned. So on this post, one thing they're bringing in is radicalized Islamic masses. from Real News Central, California, Imam warns of alleged global Islamization, and I would say that's so. There's a police chief in the United States that said when he joined it was 2%, and now it's 67%, so they're going to start enforcing Sharia law, which is breaking the Constitution. So Trump can send in the National Guard and remove that block of the police force. And so this post here, as you can see, Imam Uthman ibn Farouk, speaking from California, sparked alarm with his statements regarding the global expansion of Islam. And I've seen the same thing in the UK, Paul. People radicalized Islamic. I wouldn't say it's the entire Islamic world, but you have this radicalized faction that is leaving the countries they don't like and going to countries they do like, turning them into the countries they left behind that they didn't like. So we'll listen to him speak here.
We are the messengers of the messenger. We are the representative of this deen of Islam. We have to be the solution. The future is ours. Every ideal nightmare of a Muslim Europe will come true. They can be as mad as they want. I don't care. America will be a Muslim country. Russia will be a Muslim country. Islam will enter every house. We have to be a part of that change. We have to be a part of that da'wah. We have to be a part of those ghuraba who stand firm on our aqidah and our practice and our deen and never, ever apologize. We're unapologetic. Never, ever compromise. We're uncompromising.
So you can hear the radicalization and what they're talking about. And that's, with the Constitution in the United States, that's easy to stop. In Canada, they had a mosque nearby, but they shut an entire street down and they're doing their daily prayer stuff. And the lady was, saying it's against the law and all that. Over to you, Paul. Do you have any commentary on that?
Yeah, the UK is definitely on its way. We've had our first debate in Parliament over Sharia law and whether it should be integrated somehow. This is something that we are seeing across the board in every country. Islam is trying to take over. We've had our king do Islamic prayer when he's supposed to be the leader of the Christian faith. We've got prayers happening in the streets when a preacher who's preaching Christianity gets arrested on the street. We are seeing a religious takeover happening before our eyes, and our Labour government is bowing down to them because what I've realised is they rely on, let's just say, the Islamic faith will follow whatever the preachers say. So Labour's realised all you've got to do is get the preachers on side, and you've got a whole voting bloc. It's massive. It is massive what's happening. This is a war of faith now, more than anything else.
Yes, indeed. Again, from a person in your neck of the woods, Paul.
So this is the British Patriot on X. Penalty for illegal entry. Singapore, 6 months in jail. Russia, 2 years in a hard labour camp. Pakistan, 10 years jail. India, 8 years jail. North Korea, death. Great Britain, free housing, health care, education, food, phone, cash, doctors come to your door, you name it, they're getting everything. And over 50,000 illegals have arrived since July 2024. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it was the same in the U.S. They had 5-star hotels and buffets in them until Trump got in, and they had free Medicare, Medicaid, and a stipend and food stamps, the whole nine. So, yes, it is, this is part of the deep state plan. It's how they do it.
Yep. And as well, you've told me many times, Gene, this is to destroy the countries, bring in a total totalitarian system where freedom is gone forever, because this is all part of the end game. There's too many of us. They want us reduced down, and here it is. This is the plan playing out.
Absolutely. And we can see here on the items I have on screen, Lord Beeble on X, South African blogger Kurt Katz wandered around German Frankfurt. So what has happened to Germany? Yeah, what we're talking about has happened to Germany. And this is pretty freaky.
She's just shooting up right there with full daylight. And then you look at those things. Thank you so much. This is a camera. Getting interrogated by the police there.
Pretty darn disturbing, that is. So thank goodness in the U.S. we have Trump. He's doing a lot of things, especially during the shutdown. So one of the big things going on in the U.S. is they have not just the shutdown. Of course, Trump is going all over and sending in the National Guard. But first, we'll go into what is happening with this shutdown and what it did and what power it gave to Trump is quite amazing. So this post here, as we can see, by Alexander Bolton, the Democrats shutdown backfired. Did they hand Trump the power to erase their agenda? They sure did. Senate defeats House passed a bill to reopen government despite Democratic cracks, but the Congress has not. So we're still in the shutdown, and let's listen to what this has actually given the power to Trump. It made the entire government in the hands of the military with him as the commander-in-chief.
Are we witnessing one of the biggest political blunders in congressional history? Senate Democrats refused to pass a continuing resolution, a routine measure that keeps government open while negotiations continue. Instead, they chose a shutdown. Led by Chuck Schumer, but forced by the radicals in his party, they believed this would hurt President Trump. But here's the mistake. When the government shuts down, funding authority for programs and agencies expires. Contracts are suspended. And in that moment, the president and his budget director decide which functions are essential and which are not. That means President Trump now has the power to decide which Democrat-controlled programs are restarted and which are erased. And once something is cut, Congress cannot simply flip a switch to bring it back. They must reappropriate funds, hold votes, and fight uphill battles. The Democrats don't have the votes. So what looked like a tactical play may turn out to be the greatest strategic disaster. They gave Trump the very tool he needed to slash programs they've guarded for decades, legally, and with the full authority of the shutdown. The only question now is whether these cuts will be temporary or permanent. This is what happens when arrogance meets strategy. This is how history turns. My friends, we are all anonymous. We see the game for what it is.
And another thing it does is it gives Trump and the military, all the judges, we know a lot, not all, but a whole massive amount of the judges are in control of by the cabal, are controlled by the cabal. And so it means that now, with the shutdown going on, and that it's not applied to certain things. So they can, because the judges all the way up to and including the Supreme Court are shut down, that means they can go to military and have military tribunals. And that is taking place. They called all the military in. It was a summons to all the generals, all the high-ranking military, which has never happened, but under the Constitution, during a shutdown, Trump has the legality to do that, and he has read them, certain ones, and there's a list in that summons of who is going to be removed and go to these tribunals, starting with Milley. And Nino covered that on his platform, as did Michael Jaco, with a lady that really read it out quite well. So I recommend you all go see that expose by them, and to go through the list of what is now still being open as part of our government, what is running. So Nancy May on X shutdown update as part of our government close. Remember, America doesn't grind to a halt. Social Security and Medicare continue. VA clinics stay out and benefits continue. Mail keeps moving. The retirement benefits going on. Trump has also made so the military is getting their pay still, by the way. USDA crop insurance active. FEMA response to disasters. Border wall construction continues as per House Resolution 1, and the Pell Grants continue. Also, there should be no such thing as non-essential government employees. He's looking like he's doing a reduction in force to the non-essentials in the government. And I've heard it could be up to 800,000. This is right away to reduce the size of the government and trim the fat. So, wow, it is stunning how he's playing this out. And in this, the Doge, as I said, you can see on X from a leading report here, all Doge employees stay as the White House is furloughing a third of its staff. And additionally, besides that, what are they, and I said that the military, you can see here from the White House, Trump vows to get service members every last penny during the government shutdown. So that's a real president, America first. And one of the things I also mentioned, you can see here again, from Santa Surfing on X, power move, President Trump replaces fired immigration judges with military lawyers. Like I said, the Trump administration is assigning military lawyers as temporary immigration judges after firing dozens from the bench. And you know there's over 500 JAG in D.C. now, and about 100 Army Reserve lawyers will begin 6 months assignments to ease a 3.4 million case backlog. So not just for a little while, at least 100 of them will be retained for 6 months. They'll get through that backlog. Military, you don't waste time. You get through it real quick. And one thing Doge is doing, from Baron Trump here, we can see on his comment, on his commentary account, it's happening. Caroline Leavitt just dropped a political bombshell. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has launched a full-scale investigation to track every dollar that's been flowing into Antifa's hands, which you all know he's declared as a terrorist organization, and many countries in Europe have now done the same. For years, they're hidden behind fake charities and dark money networks. So this time, that time is over. Every single donor will now face federal charges. Over to you, Paul, for any comments.
Do you know what? And every time I think Trump's playing out a plan, there's another plan that he's had on the sidelines coming into effect. And this is the biggest one because he's building up trust in the people. Because let's be fair, we all know who the big arrests need to be. But to convince the sleepy normies that they need to be arrested would be very hard. But he's dismantling the entire deep state piece by piece, building up that trust in him. I mean, when it comes out about Antifa, this is going to be fantastic because this is going to be some big arrests in itself. But there are still even bigger ones. Trump's plans are just layered upon layered upon layered. And just when you think you've seen it all, there's something new coming. And that's all I just wanted to say on that, Gene.
Okay. Yes, you're right. And he does have another plan. Go ahead, Paul.
This is from Santa Trump on X. Trump just put Doge on CPS and the National Childcare System. Please hurry. Fantastic.
Yes. So, boy, is this good news. And they're going to go by caseworker, house, individual child in the system. They're going to go through the entire thing meticulously.
Doge is going after CPS and the United States foster care system next. Yep. If you're making money on these kids illegally, if you're using and abusing and frauding, it's coming for you. It's fixing to find out the truth, the real truth about what is happening to these children. This just keeps getting better and better. Everything that we ask for, he is delivering. I am so excited. This is absolutely huge. Huge. To me, it's almost as big. No, not almost. It is as big as the IRS. So actually probably even more so important because of the children involved. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, guys.
So go to her post and give her the comments, because that is really, 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 really good news. Really amazing. So more on the government shutdown here from Ricardo Bossi on X, a repost of Santa Trump like we just had. We'll take a minute and listen to a little bit of this. It's over 5 minutes long, but we'll listen to a little bit of it. You can listen to the rest. You have the link there of where to go and see it. So we'll listen to a bit of this.
What's up, everybody? So, government shutdown, first day. Now they're talking, you're starting to...
And you can also go to TikTok and see it at Mississippi17.sta.
Sure. Oh, well, this is the way that we can streamline the government and we can really slim it down and blah, 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 blah. That's true. But let's talk about why. So with the government shut down, it's the requirement of the executive, along with the Army and the Marine Corps, to make sure that the nation still functions. That also means that they can move assets without congressional approval, because Congress is basically out the window, okay? With the government shut down, the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't exist, so it moves to the U.S. Marine Corps Division Main Court, justices, or judges, and the Army Judge Advocate Generals, and the Air Force Judge Advocate General, depending on what jurisdiction we're talking about, whether it's space or air or land or sea, commercial, right? Which really, this isn't going to be space or air. Everything's really in maritime or in federal commercial. So right now, what can happen, like what's probably going to happen, and this is going to sound a little crazy, but this is what I see. The police forces, all law enforcement, is going to get moved to Division Main, Marine Corps.
That'll also allow them to clean up the police forces, by the way.
And they're going to be attached to as our law enforcement mechanism, and that will facilitate the re-establishment of the...
Like the police chief was talking about being instituting Shahara law.
American militia, which starts with the veterans. Second, and this is beautiful, transportation and transit will be taken away from the states, and they will be moved into North America, and that transportation transit system will operate under the Army Corps of Engineers. So remember back in the day, like we had the Army Corps of Engineers for the bridges? Well, now the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be over our bridges, our roads, all that stuff.
And what this does is the deep state was in the process of trying to create a civil war with all the 51 million plus that came in during the Biden regime. And so with the military and the National Guard and a nationalized police force, they can stop that in all the cities of the country. And he's got, Memphis and Chicago and Portland and many cities now with the National Guard in operation, what they call Midnight Hammer. They do most of the raids at night because they have an advantage over most of the terrorists like Antifa and Cindy Agua and all that.
Transportation, okay? So the states and the local counties can't profit from them anymore with their buddy contractors, right? So that's going to happen. Public land and ground will be moved to Judge Advocate Generals, and so will the probate courts.
So the court systems as well. And as I said, it's long, so you can watch the rest on that post right there on X. And we will continue on here with more news about the arrests and all that, about the military force being put forth in various places, starting with Illinois. From leading report, breaking President Trump orders 300 National Guard troops to Illinois. For those that don't know, in Chicago, they had a midnight hammer raid on an apartment building, arrested over 24 high-level terrorists, some of them murders and worse. And the Chicago mayor, as I said, this is from Rapid Response 47 on X, Brandon Johnson, announced he signed an executive order creating ice-free zones. Yeah, watch how the military obeys your ice-free zones, to ban ICE agents, and he's created a wall. Of course, the military will walk through that wall like it's not even there. This is sick. I totally agree. He's aiding and abetting criminal, illegal immigrant killers, rapists, traffickers, and gangbangers. This is the, not really Democrat. This is the deep state, is how they work. It's actually them quite exactly how they always do things. And continuing from leading report on X, President Trump plans to reduce the refugee admissions ceiling from 125,000 to 7,500, and has indicated that priority will be given to South Africans who claim persecution. So that's the only people that will even get it. And then lastly here, as I said, they're in Memphis, and you can see here in Memphis what they've already done. 28 arrests, 4 guns recovered, and these are always 10% of what they're actually doing, by the way, and 5 drug seizures, because some of the weapons, they can't go into their Stinger missiles from Ukraine and all kinds of things that they're grabbing. So it is really serious and really happening what's going on. So back to the internet here of what I have pulled up, and we'll continue on down the line with what's going on more from the White House. President Trump sits down with OANN. Democrats are asking for things you wouldn't want. Most people are saying wouldn't want, and patriots don't want and wouldn't want. Don't miss in the must-see recap in under 2 minutes. So we'll listen to that must-see recap right now.
They're doing things and asking for things that you wouldn't want, and most people that are sane wouldn't want, and patriots wouldn't want. They want illegal aliens to get taken care of with health care. Everybody in the world is going to enter our country and say, give us free health care, give us this, give us that. It's going to ruin all of the things that we have, all of the plans that we have. Everything will be destroyed because no country has enough money to take care of that. I learned that they were much different outside of the office, because in the office they were total gentlemen. Outside of the office, they get out to the press and they start ranting and raving. I said, are those the 2 guys that just left? $17 trillion is being invested in the country. Under Biden, in 4 years, they had less than $1 trillion. Trade deficit was cut in half. And it was cut in half because we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars worth of tariffs. It took us 12 days to fix D.C. At the end of a month, it's never been better than it is right now. Many murderers, over 11,000, I guess 11,888 murderers. These people are out of our country now, a lot of them. We're looking for the rest. We know who they are, and we're coming to get them. 7 different wars they ended, and it's soon going to be 8. And when you think of it, nobody's done anything like that. They're using rhetoric that's very dangerous. And, you have stupid people doing it, like Crockett. She's a low IQ person. Charlie was a great guy. Charlie and I were very close. He was a big factor in our big win. It should not have happened to him. You're going to have a great country again. We have a country that was really a sick country. And we're getting better very fast, a lot faster than people could have imagined. They're doing things.
So thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, the Don. To the Don and more.
So this is from 107 on X. We must frame our side as being clear-headed and calculated. If we had proposed this any other place before now, we would have been fighting a full MSM barrage of Nazi, fascist, etc. Trump. Now, in front of the whole world, Commander-in-Chief Trump makes his case for the Insurrection Act, which will include voter ballot reform, a new census, and all the sanctuary cities will become known as combat zones. Antifa is now an enemy combatant, terrorist organisation status, and militant Muslims will be dealt with in the same way. If you are not on the side of right, you will be shown the door, and as in illegal immigration, you will get a chance and are paid to leave. Then enter legally. Even if you are now citizens by falsification of documents given to you It will be your exit papers you are served next. It had to be done this way. Even the length of time in order to clearly lay it out, even for the normies who, if they are citizens, need to bone up on the sorry, sorry, that made me chuckle. Need to bone up on the Constitution and Bill of Rights and the Ten Commandments. If you have time, please, as it was the biblical verse, Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children.
So again, from the dawn.
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Grover Cleveland, George Bush, and others all used the armed forces to keep domestic order and peace. Many of our leaders used the military to keep peace. Now they like to say, oh, you're not allowed to use the military. And you know what the people say? The people in those cities where they're being raped, shot, beat up. You know what they say? We love the military. You ever see where they interview the people on the street? I've never seen somebody say they don't, unless they're radical and paid off, because a lot of these insurrectionists are paid by, whether it's Soros or other people, but they're paid by the radical right. So today I want to thank every service member from general to private who's bravely helped us secure the nation's capital and make America safe for the American people. It's amazing. The whole world is watching. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Grover Cleveland.
So the interview I was speaking of on Nino and on Michael Jaco is of Sheila Home. If you want to look to that and see that summons of all the U.S. military, they're cleaning it up so that he can use the military and know that they're reliable. And that is now also done. And as Pete Hegseth said, there's going to be no more gay men in dresses stuff. He didn't say it that way. He said the SH word. But and also there'll be no more beardos and no more fat overweight. Every single military person, including generals all the way up, will have physical readiness tests twice a year. And every day of duty, they'll have physical training. So, wow. Yeah, I used to use those physical readiness tests as a time to work out in the morning. I go do half my workout before as a warm-up and then do the PRT as kind of a slight break. And then I finish my workout while everybody else was finishing their PRT because they're slow. So we can see here from the Hustle guy on X, Stephen Miller tells law enforcement, you are unleashed. And this is what's going on. Whatever you need to get it done, we're going to get it done. Is this about keeping order or preparing for something darker? It's preparing, if there is going to be something darker, to be able to do it and get it done. Sorry, my feed stopped. I guess I lost sound on this one. But you can see also that it's posted at TikTok on Courier Newsroom. And then, sorry, continuing, as I mentioned, Midnight Hammer. Here it is, Homeland Security, posted by Homeland Security. DHS law enforcement has made over 900 arrests during Midnight Hammer, Operation Midway Blitz in Illinois. To every illegal alien, darkness is no longer your ally. We will find you. And you can see that in progress. That's not just showing helicopters, there's snipers up here. continuing on, post by Homeland Security, now boarding ICE Air. This is quite a little bit of comic relief here, so I thought I'd give a little something more relaxing here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard ICE Air. We hope you enjoy your flight home. Next time, come to America legally or don't come at all. Thank you.
Thank you, and goodbye. And now from Julian Assange.
So, Real Robert on X, this is Hillary Clinton's email to pizza man John Podesta confirms the Kenyan administration, Barack Obama, plus Hillary Clinton, plus Saudi Arabia, plus Qatar, founded ISIS. Julian Assange, ISIS is funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar. This is the most significant email in the whole collection. The government of Saudi and the government of the Qatar that has been funding ISIS under Hillary Clinton, and Clinton emails revealed the largest ever arms deals in the world was made in Saudi Arabia, more than $80 billion. In fact, during her tenure as Secretary of State, total arms exports from the United States in terms of the dollar value doubled. In other words, during Hillary Clinton's time as Secretary of Bribery, the Obama's State Department approved massive arms sales, particularly to Saudi Arabia. The result was the rise of terror groups like ISIS, funded largely by the very powerful people who were bribing the Clinton Foundation. In short, the death, the beheadings, and the destruction were, in large part, due to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton.
Thank you so much, Paul.
There's an early 2014 email from Hillary Clinton, so not so long after she left Secretary of State, to her campaign manager, John Podesta. That email, it states that ISIS, is funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, the governments of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Now, this is I think this is the most significant email in the whole collection. And perhaps because Saudi and Qatari money is spread all over the place, including into many media institutions. All serious analysts know, even the US government has mentioned or agreed with that some Saudi figures have been supporting ISIS, funding ISIS. But the dodge has always been that's it's just some rogue princes using their cut of the oil money to do whatever they like, but actually the government disapproves. But that email says that no, it is the governments of Saudi and the government and Qatar that have been funding ISIS.
The Saudis, the Qataris, the Moroccans, the Bahrainis, particularly the Saudis and the Qataris, are giving all this money to the Clinton Foundation, while Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State and the State Department is approving massive arms sales, particularly to Saudi Arabia.
Under Hillary Clinton and our Clinton emails.
So you hear the gist of it. I'll let you go as we're running late and listen to the rest of that at the post there you see. And we'll continue as quickly as we can through the important information. This is all going to lead to Obama. As Patrick Byrne on X posted, in 2016, Obama used USG to spy on Hillary's Hollywood fundraiser. A CIA FBI asset was inserted and instructed to record whenever someone demonstrated personal friendship to HRC, rather than normal Hollywood slobbery. I'm not sure I ever revealed that before now. This is a repost from The Last Refuge for the folks in the back. From 2012 through April 2016, the Obama administration was spying on its political opposition, using the FBI to conduct surveillance through their access to the NSA database. So now on to the celebration that we just had for the USS Navy's post from Donald Trump of the White House. The story of the U.S. Navy is a tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and commitment stretching back 250 years. America never, ever gives up the ship. And so we just had the 250th birthday of the U.S. Navy. Thank you, everybody.
Through the spray of raging combat and the fog of naval war, from the American Revolution until today, the story of the U.S. Navy is a tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and commitment stretching back 250 years. The Navy has never failed to hunt, kill, and to win. Through it all, the United States Navy has kept the stars and stripes soaring high and proud above. You've conquered raging oceans and braved ferocious storms to vanquish America's enemies. America's Navy never, ever gives up the ship. We own the skies, we stalk the depths, and we rule the seas. God bless the United States Navy.
God bless the United States Navy and all the U.S. military. Thank you for your service. And a little bit back on the foreign agenda from Lord Bebonix. I'm abandoning work-life balance. I'm for my WLEF. I will work, work, work. So Japan has its new first prime minister who's a female.
私自身もワークライフバランスという言葉を知ってます。働いて働いて働いて働いて働いて参ります。
So there it is, right from her mouth. She's going to work, work, work. So from Lord Bebonix talking about how the CIA actually works, I'll let you hear Mike Pompeo say what it really was.
What's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
So that's why Kennedy said he wanted to destroy the CIA. They are cleaning it up. Excuse me. And there are good people in the CIA. So since we don't have time, I just show this. He is saying Jews, but it's actually Zionists. Since we're out of time, you can go to that post on Stop World Control now. He's a very good person, but it sounds like he's anti-Semitic. It's always talking about the Jewish. It's within the Jewish community the Zionists infiltrated. So now in support of Charlie Kirk, we see this worldwide going on. I believe this is either Spain or I think this is in Spain, but I know it.
This is the UK. This was the march on the 13th of September. I was there, Gene.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Yeah, now I see the flags. Thank you for clarifying. There it is. Wow.
I'm in there somewhere, Gene. I'm in there somewhere.
There he is. There's Paul right there. There he is. See it right there. Wow. That is stunning. That is a lot of people.
This is for you, Charlie Kirk. Millions united to fight mass immigration. Millions standing against the destruction of British culture. Millions chanting your name, Charlie Kirk, in defiance. History has been made. The world is watching. Charlie, this is your legacy.
So, thank you, Charlie. And that's going across the world. We honor his legacy. Now to wrap it up with a bit of lightness from Monaco, this post, Philareia and her trip to the sea. Her first one at the age of 4 months. This is so sweet. Takes right to it, though. So she is sure taken to swimming and just enjoying the ocean and having a great time. And you can watch that rest of that post there at Monaco. And we'll go on to this amazing post from Dr. C. Healing of Christ. An amazing event. So that shows you the true power. And from antidepressant content, something more to relax us as we head out here. Humans imitating their cats. This is absolutely hilarious. I can't play the music, but the video's enough to say it all. She couldn't even keep it straight. Priceless. They used to show this on Candid Camera, how people look at their pets. Hard to believe that's a real, it's in a suit though. And a few more items here. On our last item, I wanted to share this book that is really quite phenomenal. This slide is actually how the shedding looks and what it does. That's a dark field microscope. What they call microplastics, you can see under dark field, are actually lit up in their antenna polymer fibers. You can see the construction zones with the bright circles. The blood is all clotted up. It's feeding off the electricity. That's what you're seeing lighting everything up. And then below the corner of that fiber, polymer fiber, is a nanochip being built. So this is a book by Dr. Anna Mahalcia, probably the world's leading expert on the transhuman agenda. An amazing person. You can also see her other book up there, Light Medicine, and she has a transhuman part 2 as well. So thank you everybody for joining us, and God bless you all, and we'll close in prayer. Sophie?
Yes. Father, Mother God, the one and only true living God of all creation, we thank you for your presence with us here this evening. We thank you for all the exposures and the dismantling of the deep state that's happening now, and we pray that the truth shall set us free and end the divide among the people on earth. We pray for unity and peace in the heart of the people all over the world. Thank you also for your blessing and your protection for Paul, for Jean, and for all those who are listening now or will listen at a later time. And most of all, of course, Father, Mother God, we thank you for sending your beloved Son, Jesus, the Christ of God, the healer and the redeemer of our souls and all men, the way, the truth, and the life. Teteleste.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you, Paul. God bless.
Take care, everyone. See you all soon.